Dereck Chisora versus Malik Scott taking place this Saturday. This is a very interesting fight. Very, very interesting fight. And as always with Dereck Chisora fights, a lot depends on what type of shape Dereck Chisora turns up in. And I've heard rumors on Facebook that Dereck Chisora is in the 220s in terms of weight. Someone apparently has said that they'd spoken to a member of Dereck Chisora's camp, and they claim that he's weighing 224 pounds, which is 16 stone in English money. Now, judging by the footage of Dereck Chisora, which has come out today, of him, posing for the cameras with Malik Scott, I do not believe for 1 second that he weighs anywhere near 224 pounds. Not even close. Dereck Chisora looks way closer to 244 pounds than 224 pounds. So I don't see that at all. If Dereck Chisora came in at 224 pounds, literally, I'd be amazed. Yeah, I'd literally be amazed. So I don't believe that for a second. I think he's going to be pretty much the same kind of weight as he normally comes in at. Maybe slightly lighter. We might see him come in at 238 pounds, something like that. 235 at the lightest. But he's definitely not in the 220s, right? So forget that right off the bat. But in certain fights, he has been in decent enough shape to be fairly effective. Like he was in the Vitaly Klitschko fight. He was in pretty decent condition. Same with Robert Helenius fight. He had a lot of energy. He was throwing a lot of punches. And he's going to need a lot of energy in this fight against Malik Scott. Malik Scott is a tall fighter. He's somewhat slick. And he seems to be left-hand dominant. He's an orthodox fighter. He's got a very, very good stiff jab and a good left hook that he likes to lead off with and counter with. He does have a right hand, but it seems that he definitely prefers his left to his right. I'm not sure if he's a converted southpaw or maybe he's had hand trouble with his right hand. I'm not even sure, but he definitely favors his left hand. He's tall. He's one of the slickest fighters out at the moment in the heavyweight division. He's pretty damn slick. I put him right there, right next to Eddie Chambers in terms of slickness. But he's taller, bigger than Eddie Chambers, and he's got a better jab than Eddie Chambers. Although I'd say Eddie Chambers is a bit better on the inside than Malik Scott. But if Chisora's in shape, and if he has the kind of energy and drive and determination that we saw him have in the Klitschko and Helenius fights, then this is going to be very intriguing. This is going to be very intriguing. Malik Scott don't necessarily have that many knockouts on his resume, but judging by his last fight against Glaskov, he does have some kind of power because he was able to keep Glaskov honest for long stretches in that fight just with his jab and his left hook. Glaskov didn't just, walk in on him, without a certain amount of respect. So, Malik Scott obviously does have some kind of power there, even though he may not have the ability to land those powerful shots on target, on people's chins regularly enough to get a lot of knockouts. He don't have many knockouts in his career. So yeah, this is a very, very intriguing fight. And like I say, if Chisora turns up in shape, I could see Chisora outworking Malik Scott down the stretch if he's really in good shape. Right, I could see him outworking Malik Scott down the stretch. I could see Malik Scott definitely having a lot of success early in this fight. Regardless if Dereck Chisora is in shape or not, I see Scott having a lot of success early in the fight. But if Chisora continues pushing and pressuring him, I can see Chisora starting to have more success as the fight goes on and maybe overwhelm Malik Scott a little bit towards the end. But like I say, Malik Scott is very slick. Right, Dereck Chisora gave Robert Helenius all type of problems with his pressure, but Malik Scott is a hell of a lot slicker and faster, and in my opinion, better than Robert Helenius. Other than power, I think Malik Scott has got everything over Robert Helenius. So I'm not taking too much from the Helenius fight in terms of the way Chisora was able to perform, but just based on styles, I think that Chisora moves his head a lot better than Glaskov. I think he's faster on his feet than Glaskov. Glaskov definitely has better punch technique. He's less wild. He's more precise and accurate with his punches. But I think Chisora's got the better head movement and he's much more relentless. Right? He's been in there with big punches. A question has to be asked though is how Dereck Chisora is going to react, right? Bayloric pointed this out on his very good breakdown of this fight. He pointed out the idea that, you know, we don't know how Chisora is going to react when he gets hit with a big shot after being knocked out by David Haye. Is there still psychological scars there? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out in this fight. I know Bayloric is picking Malik Scott to win by stoppage in the mid rounds, I believe. Me personally, I'm gonna give Chisora the benefit of the doubt and say that Scott won't be able to stop him. Right? It's possible. This is heavyweight boxing, and as I said, I think Scott's punching power is possibly a bit underrated. But I just think from a style point of view, Scott, you know, Chisora is vulnerable to uppercuts. We saw in the David Haye fight, you know, Haye was getting through with quite a lot of uppercuts. And obviously Haye managed to finish the fight with a left hook. But Chisora does tuck up, you know, nice and tight most of the time. And in this particular training camp, he's trained to deal with speed more effectively. You know, against David Haye, Chisora wasn't getting caught with that many clean shots, to be honest with you, up until the end. The only clean shots he was really getting caught with was uppercuts, like I said. Whereas Malik Scott, I ain't really seen him throw that many uppercuts. You know, I ain't really seen him throw that many uppercuts. And he's definitely taller than David Haye. I know David Haye's supposed to be 6'3", but if you look at David Haye and Dereck Chisora standing side by side, right, after that fight, or even when it was in the ring fighting, there didn't look to be any difference in height, to be honest with you. But with Dereck Chisora and Malik Scott, you can definitely see a difference in height. And Malik Scott's only supposed to be 1 inch taller than David Haye, but you can see a difference in height between Malik Scott and Dereck Chisora. So this is a very intriguing fight, and I'm going to reserve judgment in terms of exactly how I think the fight is going to play out until the weigh-in. I want to see exactly what kind of shape Dereck Chisora is in. Everyone's been talking about it. Frank Warren has said that this is the first time that Chisora has really been in great shape. He's got a dietitian in and all this kind of stuff. But we've heard this from Chisora before. We've heard before a lot of his fights that he's supposed to be in the best shape of his life. In fact, in his last fight, he was supposedly, you know, going to come in lighter than ever. And he turned up fat, you know, as usual. So I'm going to reserve judgment, like I said, until I see the weigh-in and see just what kind of shape he's in. But either way, I see this as a competitive fight. I don't see this as being a one-sided affair by either man, especially if both guys are in shape. I see this as a very competitive fight and an intriguing fight. You know, we know what Chisora is going to do. He's going to pressure Malik Scott all around the ring. He's going to try and bully him. He's going to try and manhandle him. And Scott's going to try and out-slick Chisora and try and catch him with sharp counters and get his respect. So I'm looking forward to this one. Let me know how you feel about this fight in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win? Do you really believe that Chisora is going to come in shape this time? What type of weight do you think Chisora needs to weigh to be at his maximum effectiveness? Me personally, I'd like to see Chisora no higher than about 233 to 234 pounds, around there. In the low 230s, I think would be the maximum that Chisora should weigh. All right, so yeah, leave your comments in the comment section below. This is Hatman. I'm out.